I just saw the Bikeriders, and I'm going to tell you what I thought about it right now.
All those clubs do is sit around talking about motorcycles. That's what we do.
The Bikeriders stars Tom Hardy as Johnny, the founder of the Vandals Club, who were a group of bikers originally formed for aimless middle-aged men looking to belong to something. The group starts out as a tight-knit group of guys who meet simply to drink and race motorcycles, but as the club grows and more members join with competing beliefs, the ideals of the Vandals erode, and Johnny struggles to maintain order. The movie is based on a true story of a gang in Chicago in the 1960s and is told through the lens of Kathy, played by Jodie Comer. She was the girlfriend of Benny, played by Austin Butler, and she recounts the Vandals' activities firsthand. Kathy and Benny's relationship is a focus, if not the main focus, of the movie. Jodie Comer's performance here is, well, it's something. I liked her in Free Guy, and I thought she was pretty good in The Last Duel, too. I don't know what the accent was supposed to be here, but it sounded like a mix between Minnesotan and Boston. I couldn't get it out of my head the entire time that what it actually sounded like was in It's a Wonderful Life when you have that first scene of young George Bailey, and he's at the ice cream shop and Mr. Gower is hitting him. That's what she sounded like the whole movie. And it's a weird comparison, but that's how it sounded. It ultimately makes her character sound more like a caricature, which doesn't ruin the movie, but it takes a while to get used to. If Jodie Comer is overacting, then Tom Hardy and Austin Butler complement her well because they're certainly underacting. And that's not even a slight on their performances. It's actually a compliment to the casting of this movie that they got two actors who so perfectly embody tough guy bikers. What I am saying, though, is it's not like Butler or Hardy are leaving their professional comfort zones with this movie. I can say that the movie wears its influences on its sleeve. In the first 15 minutes, you get narration, music cues, and a freeze frame that all gave off a very Scorsese-esque vibe. The movie might as well have started off by saying, "As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be Goodfellas." That's not a bad thing, though. Of all the movies to be compared to, you could do a lot worse than Goodfellas. And the movie does eventually come into its own, developing a plot unique to the Bikeriders. I like the pacing of this movie too. It felt like it took its time without dragging or feeling overly long in any part, which I kind of think is a sweet spot that some movies struggle with finding nowadays.
Hey!
Told you to take that jacket off.
You'd have to kill me to get this jacket off.
Of the two central storylines, the romance between Butler and Comer does feel a little shortchanged. It's not so much that they don't have enough screen time, but rather the scenes they have don't convey enough to convince us of their relationship. Butler's character Benny is written to be essentially emotionless, so a lot of the scenes between the two just feel kind of like they're going through the motions. When we go back to Johnny's side of things and we see his activities as they relate to the gang, things get a little more interesting. However, I'm not sure the crime element of the movie ever reaches its full potential. The other element of the Vandals is the exploration of why the men joined the club in the first place. The movie has scenes that are intended to recreate interviews that some of the Bikeriders would have done, and there you get some insight into the more wholesome aspects of the club and how as you grow up, you always keep this yearning to belong to something bigger than yourself. This also contributes to the theme that within a gang there are two types of members, those that are there for the camaraderie and those that join for the crime. One of the more interesting parts of the movie is seeing how those lines blur and how infectious some of those members can be on the organization as a whole. And so as I think back on the Bikeriders as a whole, it just barely squeaks by as satisfactory. This is because the parts are all good, but it feels like none of them, or very few of them, have the opportunity to be fully realized by the end of the movie. I still believe the inclusion of half-baked good ideas is better than fully realized bad ones, so I'll go slightly positive on this one and give it 3 stars out of 5 stars. But in a world where moviegoers face trade-offs on which summer blockbusters they can spend their money on, I'd probably encourage you to wait till streaming for this one. And speaking personally, I also don't think I'll feel the need to re-watch The Bikeriders anytime soon. Anyways, thanks for watching my review of The Bikeriders. Please consider liking and subscribing, and I hope to see you next time.